Hi, I'm GlobeStreet.com's Ian Ritter, and I'm here with Bryan Poynter. He's a Vice President Cassidy Turley out of their Indianapolis office, and he also heads up SIOR's Breakout Session Committee. Bryan, thanks a lot.
Thanks for having me, Ian.
Appreciate you coming by.
It's been a long weekend for you here.
Yeah, it's been a long week for everyone. I know that in the breakout sessions, technology was a big issue. What are members and commercial real estate professionals expecting out of technology nowadays?
Well, I tell you what, if we had 3 hours, I could probably answer that a little more clearly. But the simple fact is that everybody's going digital, everybody's going flexible, being out on the street. The iPad is certainly an important component. We've had several of our breakouts over the last 2 or 3 conferences focus on applications for use of the iPad. I'm not on the bleeding edge of anything, so I've recently purchased an iPad, and I'm figuring out how to actually use that, as are many of our members.
And people's children can probably use them.
I had to actually have my 12-year-old tell me how to turn it on. But I don't think that's unusual, and many of our members are so advanced as professionals in major metropolitan areas where they can pull down global imagery and they can actually do tours, they can pull up documents if you're showing a piece of property using tools like Dropbox.
Yeah.
Simple applications such that I don't have to call my assistant, say, would you please send this? I can just go right here, show it to him or her as I'm on the street. Those types of efficiency applications. Plus there's so much technology on getting market information. If I'm with you as a client and I'm on the street and you ask me a question that I may not necessarily know off the top of my head, I can usually find an application to pull that information and get it to you immediately, and it just saves me time from having to go back and do it later.
The show's kind of winding down. What have been the main focus of discussion?
You know, it's interesting. This conference in the spring is usually a little more relaxed. So a lot of people bring their spouses, and people are very upbeat. The conversations at dinners and at cocktail hours, in the booths with all our vendors is very optimistic. Much more, let me say this, much more optimistic than the last 3 or 4 conferences.
Yeah, of course.
So there's an air of being very confident in the marketplace. As a national, international organization, there are certainly wide varieties of activity in marketplaces. So it's interesting to hear who's building spec. And I do industrial brokerage. Our market in Indianapolis has over 4 million square feet of spec space being built as we speak. So when you talk to people about that, many people are looking at you with a little confused look on their face as to how is that happening.
Like, well, yeah, we thought that the Midwest was having problems.
Yeah, but Indianapolis is an anomaly, I think, because we have a very dynamic marketplace. We have very high occupancies, very low vacancies, meaning it's difficult in certain segments, but the devil's always in the detail.
Yeah.
So as we sweep across the broad brushstroke, a lot of optimism here. I think development is a big topic that people are discussing, and the vendors seem to be very upbeat. We have developers, we have banks, we have service providers. They're all very glad to be here because people are doing business again.
You know, it seems like even some developers at this point in industrial aren't even finding the sites that they want. I know that might not be a problem in Indianapolis, but it's a problem in other areas. Does that surprise you? Or?
Build-to-suit activity is increasing. When you have build-to-suit increase, you have land positions. So those developers that have perhaps held land positions through this downturn now are seeing activity and are in a position to chase those deals. Land prices in different markets vary widely. And you know, that opportunity for people to develop is going to, like in Indianapolis, we have cheap land prices. We have the ability to put in large million square foot distribution spaces. The things that we're also talking about is in those distribution spaces, the traditional warehouse, when you start talking about fulfillment centers, now all of a sudden we need a few extra trailer spots. We need spots for 400 trailers. We need spots for 1,000 cars. Those are some of the things in the way business is being done now, and the way industrial real estate is being developed in these markets is very different, because now having that land to be able to provide 500 cars. Developers are like, that's a whole different ball game. Whole different ball game.
Last question I had, it seems like the market's really doing well as far as commercial real estate goes. There's a major rebound. But at the same time, the economy is sort of wishy-washy. How do you see that playing out?
Wishy-washy has become a real estate term. And I think
it's adapting
yes,
to wishy-washy.
The thing that is on a lot of people's minds and in these discussions is there's cautious optimism, and it's incredibly, painfully slow growth. So there are some fundamentals that are correct, but the growth in terms of the economy, and you can always break that down and have a lengthy conversation on what that means.
Yeah.
Painfully, incrementally slow. And that's frustrating to a lot of people because they don't know what is 3 years going to be.
What's going to happen, yeah.
The next year, maybe. 5 years, who knows?
Who knows, yeah.
We had a very nice breakout session yesterday where we talked about economic indicators and looking historically over these curves that economists like to talk about. And I think most people would agree that we're slightly on the increase and probably a good run for the next 3 to 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
But inflation is so low, things are going to change. We just don't know when that's going to happen.
Well, it seems like the industry's pushing ahead and it's just saying, who cares? We have our business to do,
And you know what? Developers, industrial, office, commercial developers are bold in nature, but they're being very cautious. They're being much smarter, but they are doing business. And there are deals. There are businesses that need to expand. We've also talked at this conference about all of the money that's still left out there on the tables to be reinvested.
Yeah.
The companies like Amazon.
You get good returns with real estate better than you are in other areas, So.
Historically, that would be the case. So it's been it's been very fun. It's been very relaxed out here. It's always great to catch up with your colleagues from around the country.
Yeah.
And I always get more than I give when I come to these because I learn so much from people all over the country.
Fabulous. Bryan, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
And thank you for tuning in to SIOR Live.